up? Welcome back to the channel. I'm MoedotJ and we are locked in. This is episode 10 of Ozark season 4, part 2. What do we see? Ruth has a new deal with Claire and Shaw Pharmaceuticals to be the supplier of drugs since Javi is gone. She went and got the keys, went to Darlene's house, got that stash, and now we're in business. Also, the last thing we seen was Marty getting his stuff together and headed to Mexico to run the organization, the Navarro cartel. Now, before we jump into this episode, shout out to the notification gang. If you're new to the channel, you're gonna be a part of it. Hit the subscribe button, turn on your notification bell so you get something every time I upload. Hit that like button. It's the easiest thing you can do. Now, everyone's scrambling around trying to figure out how they're going to move forward. Shaw, they're not messing with the Byrdes because they got Ruth. Marty, he's going to Mexico to try to run those things. And also, Grandpa was here looking for Ben. So it's about to be a crazy episode. And remember, this is the last part of Ozarks. So let's jump into it. This is episode 10 of Ozarks season 4. The 4 signs we have for episode 10: tennis balls, a lantern, Mexican flag, and a spiral staircase. You know I'll point them out for you. This episode starts off with a flashback of what actually happened to Ben. Now you remember Ben and Wendy, they were eating at a little diner while they were supposed to be hiding them. Wendy left and Ben was there by himself. Now Navarro's security came and picked him up, and of course Ben is scared and he's saying, I'm not going to say anything about Helen. Now that's the one reason that they were trying to get rid of Ben and hide him, because he knew what was going on. He was dealing with Ruth, but he was off of his meds. So right now they're telling Ben, hop in the black truck behind us, put your hands on the dashboard. On the way to the location where they're going to get rid of Ben, you can hear him saying he looked up to Wendy. Wendy was the only person that loved him in this world. Even outside of God, Wendy was the only person. So that corroborates Grandpa's story about saying how Ben looked up to her. Now you also hear Ben telling the goon, hey man, tell my sister I forgive her. I'm sorry for all of this. They end up getting to a barn. And when they get there, there's a tarp already laid out. Ben's like, hold on, wait, don't do this, man. Don't do this. This is all a dream. He's like, sit there, close your eyes. And then he ends Ben. So Ben actually died inside of a barn. The first sign is the Mexican flag. Now they don't show the flag here, but Marty is officially in Mexico. Now you can hear Omar narrating, and basically this is what he told Marty. You have to be ruthless there, because if these people don't trust or believe in you, they will join forces. Basically, Marty needs to be Omar Navarro. He has to come down here, be strict, lead with an iron fist, because you're in charge now. But it only takes one slip up for everyone to turn their back on you and someone try to take over the Navarro cartel or partner with someone else. Now, of course, you already know that this is probably scary as hell going down here. And the only person that you communicated with was the priest. Oh, man, good luck, Marty. We believe in you, though. Marty's first day on the job as the new cartel leader. And of course, Wendy calls. Is everything all right? What can Marty really say? I haven't met anybody, but there's a lot of people with guns here. She's like, oh, thank you for this. When just last episode, she was upset at Marty trying to fix everything. Which one is it, Wendy? When it benefits you, you're with it. But when it's not your plan, you're not with it. But anyway, Marty's like, I gotta go because he needs to do the official, introduction. Hi, my name is Marty Byrde. I'm in charge of the cartel. But right after that, Wendy goes and talks to her daughter. Now we know that Charlotte did not want Marty to go down there. She knows how dangerous this is. So when Wendy comes and tells her, she doesn't even respond. She just looks at her mom like, okay. Now this is the moment I've been waiting for in Ozarks. Marty comes in here. All of the heads of different territories up under the Navarro cartel are here. We have a translator. Now listen up. Javi is no longer with us. Javi is killed. Javi made a deal with the feds. Javi got Omar locked up. Omar called the hit, not another cartel. Right now, what he's doing is exerting Omar Navarro's dominance. And also, I'll be running things day to day here. I wanted Navarro out of prison. I want him to win the cartel war. We did that. So now it's up to me to get him out of prison. And also, I'm going to meet with each one of you individually and go over your books and finances per Navarro. So now people are looking at it like, damn, Navarro's ordering hits from behind prison. He sent Marty down here to look at the books. He still has that power. That's exactly what Navarro was telling Marty to go down here and do. After the meeting, Javi's mom, Camilla, walks up and she wants to talk to Marty since he's in charge. Now, when they get outside, Marty's saying, I can't tell you much. All I can say is that Javi went out quickly. Yeah, it was quick, all right. Pack up on the ground. It's over with. Now, she's trying to find something to relate with Marty. So she asks him, does he have kids? Because she lost her father to this. And now she lost her son to the dope game. And he's like, yeah, I do. So she wants to know, is it possible to really get Omar, her brother, out of prison? So working through Marty's foundation, we know that Omar is on the SDN list. Now, SDN is specially designated nationals, meaning the government won't work with them. So if they can get him off the list, get him extradited back to Mexico, then they can pay the Mexican government to let him leave. Same thing that we seen going on with Pablo when he was locked up. El Chapo was a little bit different because he escaped. But when you have money and power in Mexico, you can make things happen. Wendy decides to take things into her own hand again. So she pulls up on Ruth. These two don't like each other at all. Now she's saying, partner with us one time, Ruth. Because what if you start making money with Claire and the profits are so good she wants to do more business with you? Now you got to remember, Ruth only has this one batch of drugs because she never really learned how to do the drugs. That's what Wyatt was learning. But then Darlene and them are gone and we don't know what's going to actually happen to the land. So she's saying, partner with us one time and we'll take it out of our cut, Ruth. You don't have to spend nothing. Plus, you owe us because you took the one way for us to get out of the game, killing Javi, and now you're in there. Ruth is saying, yeah, it sounds good, but it's also free for me to screw you guys over. Basically holding that grudge and being petty. I'm not going to help y'all out. But we seen once part 2 started, Ruth has been on a rampage. Wendy being Wendy, working and working and working. Now we know that she's on the politics side of the family. So what does she do? She goes to talk to the sheriff. Now the old sheriff, she's gone. They have a deputy filling in. She's saying, oh, so they're doing this before elections? Because you know the sheriff is voted on. And he's sitting there. He's like, oh, well, let me talk to you then, Miss Byrde. She's saying, I like to report a crime before it happens. Now for him, he's listening to it and he's just a deputy. So you know you're not taking your job too seriously. But what does Wendy do? She just throws it out there. You know, you said you were the deputy. No. You're the acting sheriff. If you act the part, people will notice it. That's because Wendy has that power. So for him, he's hearing it like, oh, I could potentially become the sheriff with the push behind Wendy Byrde. What do you got, man? What do you want? What crime are you about to report to me? Let's go handle this. Acting sheriff shows up to the Lazy-O to talk to Sam to try to get some information on where Ruth is. And you know Sam, he's always messing things up. We know he had this little gambling problem. He couldn't work at the strip club because he wasn't assertive enough and they were punking him in there. Now the deputy is like, so you do everything Ruth says? He's like, oh, well, not really. He said, what do you know about Ruth working with Darlene Snell? He says, man, I don't know nothing. I just check people in. But you can go talk to our accountant. He's in room down the hallway talking about Jonah. Sam, you can't have him anywhere because he's going to run his mouth. Our acting sheriff goes down to room 138 to talk to the accountant for the Lazy-O. Jonah opens the door and he's like, whoa, what do you need? Do you have a warrant for that? He's like, wait, you're the Byrde's kid, right? And Jonah, whenever he sees his law enforcement, he's getting a little bit nervous, but he's right on how he's answering. I don't know how much money they're bringing in. I just started. I just do like cash flow, little things like that. Now, the acting sheriff is asking him, what about Darlene Snell? Now, Jonah, he's avoiding all of that because I heard of her, but I don't know anything because he knows whenever the cops come snooping around, it's best to be minimum with everything you got to say. Now, Jonah is underage, so technically everything that he's being asked won't be able to hold up anyway. Grandpa shows up at the right time. You remember him and the whole congregation, they're down here looking for Ben. And exactly what I just said, he says, what's going on, deputy? Acting sheriff. You're interrogating a minor without a guardian present? So all of this would have been thrown out. Any information that he used wouldn't have been able to hold. But Grandpa's like, no, we're not going inside to talk about this. We're actually about to go to lunch. Now the sheriff, acting sheriff, he's trying to get this information because he just heard from Wendy that there was a crime going on and he's trying to connect things. But now he's seeing that Jonah, Wendy's son, is doing something for Ruth when obviously this is probably who Wendy told on, Ruth. Marty's in here running through the numbers. Let me see what you got. And right here we find something interesting. And basically what Marty is saying is, your numbers are low. They try to blame it on the weather. Marty said, no, it ain't that. It ain't your grower. No. You're sending twice as many trucks up north with less product, and the money you're bringing back isn't that much. So if you cut off several of those trucks, half of the trucks you're sending up there, pack them with more of that cocaine, more of that opioids, send that up north and bring back more money. Now he gets a call from Wendy. Now Wendy is telling Marty about the plan going through the new acting sheriff to try to stop Ruth and doing everything she's doing, because you got to remember, Marty is down here running this. Marty has to set up some seizures, but also he has to supply Carrie with the drugs. So that's why he's down here. And he's listening to everything that Wendy is saying. He's like, I'm getting some good information down here for the Bureau, but come on, Wendy, stop doing all of this. Wendy's working her political magic. So she goes over and talks to Jim. Now you remember Jim told her, I don't want anything to do with you, but you don't remember that because she hasn't been answering her calls. And the last time we seen Jim, Javi was there whooping on Marty in his living room. So he wants nothing to do with the Byrdes. But Wendy is going ahead and telling him, look, Omar Navarro killed Javi, so you don't have to worry about him anymore. But what I need you to do is get some of the political whales and hold a fundraiser at the casino boat, because if we can get Omar off of the list, the SDN list, we can get him extradited back down to Mexico, and then we can bust him out. Now you see a little grin from Jim, because he knows that he has something to gain from doing this. You get all that money coming in, all of that power they get Navarro off. He can make a little bit of money on the side, and hey, it works out for everybody. We all know Mel is going to work until there ain't no work left. Also, he's trying to get that date with Miller, another one on top of the Thai food. So what he's doing is talking to one of the officers, and he's just trying to find out any information that they have about the Byrde family and potential missing of Ben, because now he's on a new case outside of Helen, even though they're connected. So what he ultimately asked for, is there any security footage so he can check the interstate to see if they stopped anywhere? She's like, yeah, I can get you some of that. This man he's on top of his job. Ruth is out here trying to make things happen. So we do see her picking up a U-Haul truck. Just a random fact, every U-Haul truck has an Arizona license plates, because that's where they originated at. The headquarters is in Arizona, and they just send the plates out to each state. But that's a whole nother topic. But while she's driving to go pick up all of her drugs that she needs to take to Chicago, she keeps looking in her rear view because she thinks that someone is following her. As she's driving, she keeps looking back, and it is this black Chrysler. So what she does is she actually pulls over to the side and then turns around, because if someone is following her, she doesn't want them to know exactly where she's going. So she turns around and drives off. Ruth goes straight down to the police station to talk to the acting sheriff. She's saying, what are you doing harassing my employees? You don't have any permission for that, let alone following me. Now, the acting sheriff was talking about, nah, I just got a tip and I was doing police work. There's nothing wrong with following somebody. It's just police work. But you're going to do something that's going to potentially get you in trouble, Miss Langmore. So don't do it. Now, Wendy, yeah, she's pulling some strings, and you hear him saying, I'm the acting sheriff and I want to be sheriff. Now, Ruth is upset about this, talking about she's playing chess, you playing checkers. But hey, he wants that position, so he's going to do whatever he can. And get out of my office, Langmore. Ruth drives on up to Kansas City to talk to Frank Jr. because she needs a little bit of help. Now, he's a little shocked to see her because you remember he gave her a gun. So the first thing he asks is, did you get rid of that? She's like, yeah, but I need your help. He's talking about, moving Darlene's product, because Frank knows what's going on here. You know what I'm saying? He's in the loop. And she's saying, look, I need your help for a price, of course. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to cut you in or something. And he's saying, I didn't think that you would want to be a fake Darlene, basically moving heroin and doing what she's doing. He always thought, since Ruth has a brain and she's actually smart and been running things, she would be more like Marty Byrde. But you hear her say, I'm not like either one of them. Marty's down here and he's going through the financials. Now, the first person is the guy that was like, who's going to be running things? Well, we're looking over your books and let me see the receivables here. Wait a minute. There's some discrepancies here. Now, he's pacing around because he's very nervous. He knows that Marty's about to find whatever they messed up on. Now, the accountant over here, he's looking through things and he's like, all right, yeah, here you go. All right, this is this and this is this. Now, what's going on here is Marty looks at it and he says, hey, someone moved the decimal over. Now, it would be a mistake if it happened one time, but for it to happen on 3 different shipments, this was purposely done. Now, the accountant's looking at it, he's like, I didn't do this. And what we're seeing here is he's like, you're cheating the cartel. That's because he was the one moving the decimals over. And that's why he didn't want Marty here to discover this. So what does he do to try to show that he isn't the one messing it up? He starts whooping on the accountant. You can see this clear as day. The accountant, he looked at it and he said, whoa, wait a minute. I didn't do this. Because this is probably his first time actually reviewing it and going to look over it. Now, I took 2 accounting classes. The first time I took it, I got a B. And then the second time I did end up getting an A. So I know if you mess up 3 times, it was intentional because you're going to catch it that second time. After witnessing that beating, this got Marty in the bed thinking like, this is a little bit more dangerous than I thought. I would have had to have 2 of the armed guards there, 2 of the most trusted guards to sit there with me and the translator to make sure I know everything that's going on while we're going over these numbers. Because just what we seen, that's going to be expected. Our boy Navarro, he out there walking a yard, getting a good stretch in. But you know, good things don't last forever. You got your 1 hour? Come on, handcuffs on, it's time to go. On the way back to his cell, we see Navarro, he's walking. He got the correctional officer in front of him. We see some inmates on the other side walking down. But guess what happens? Someone tries to take Omar out, stabs him up a little bit. Now, Omar has handcuffs on. I don't know how weak you got to be for Omar to be stabbed in his back like 3 or 4 times, to hem you up on the wall and then choke you out. You see, even the guards, they left. They said, oh, hell no, this Navarro character, he a little bit too strong. We need backup. Our next sign is the tennis balls. Now, Marty's on the phone. He's talking to Wendy. He just found out that Omar got stabbed up. The only problem is he's in a coma because he lost too much blood. Now, he did kill his attacker. So right now, they're trying to see, should we have Marty leave Mexico? And Marty's saying no, because that would make Navarro look weak. So what we're going to say is he's still calling shots. He killed his attacker and things are still going. Now, you hear Wendy say, we need to find out who did it and act like Navarro, aka go get some get back on whoever did that. Whatever cartel pulled this stunt, we need to go get even. Now, Marty, of course, he's in charge, so he's thinking like, come on, Wendy, let's just stick with my story. Marty talks to Camilla, Omar's brother. She wants to see him, but Marty is keeping the story. He killed a man. He's on lockdown. It won't happen. But also he wants to talk to her about Arturo. Now, I told you guys, Arturo seemed like he was the one that was actually cheating the cartel. Now, Camilla says, I've known him since he was young, but he was always jealous of Javi. And Javi also said, if he ever becomes the chief of the cartel, he's getting rid of Arturo because he never trusted him. So everything is lining up. That's the only reason he went off on the accountant, because the accountant knows I can't mess up anything because that would be my life. What happened to him is what's supposed to happen if he really did that. But that's why he was saying, I didn't make that mistake. It was Arturo. And you can see that from a mile away. They have Arturo tied up in the same room that they were torturing Marty and kept him up the first time he came down to Mexico. Now, Marty is saying, Omar knows you put that hit on him. We know that you were skimming money from the cartel. We know that you were jealous of Javi. Now, Arturo isn't saying anything. So we're going to be here for a while. Marty sits down on the stairs and watch them beat the crap out of him until he go ahead and admit to everything that he's done. Grandpa shows up to talk to Wendy and show his progress. Now, there was a picture of Ben, and then he's saying, yeah, that picture was taken when I was supposed to teach him how to fly fish. Now, of course, Ben wasn't that good. But now we get back into serious business, and he starts to explain to Wendy that I seen the acting sheriff interrogating Jonah in his hotel room. Now, it could have went a little further than that if he didn't step up, and hold it down for the family. So now Wendy is hearing this and she's thinking, why would the acting sheriff go do that when I just told him I'm going to help him? So everybody is doing their own thing. And that's the same thing for the acting sheriff. When he went over there, he's like, wait a minute. You're working with them, but your mom is reporting the crime. This whole town is all kinds of messed up. Ruth has been working with Frank because she needs help being able to do whatever she's doing, especially with the cops telling her. So she hops in the U-Haul and we see the black Chrysler 300 back there just waiting and watching. Now we see Ruth up there packing some boxes into the back of the U-Haul, and we see one of the officers with binoculars talking about, it's on. They trying to get our girl Ruth. As Ruth is leaving, we see the cops sitting outside. Now we know Ruth is very, 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 very intelligent and smart. So we already know that she's probably pulling the okey doke here just because she already confronted the acting sheriff and she's went to talk to Frank Jr. All right, Ruth, what are you doing out here? She's like, I'm getting some of my dead cousin's belongings from his dead cousin's wife. The acting sheriff like, really? Open it up. Let's see what's back there. Told you. Ruth is always 1 or 2 steps ahead. The acting sheriff chewing that gum like, why you rent this truck? She said, I thought my cousin had more shit than this. He is upset. Meanwhile, Frank Jr. and his goonies, they loading up the truck. I told y'all, I already knew what this plan was going to be. The hardest working PI on TV, Mr. Mel. Well, it looks like he shows up to the diner where they took Ben from. And they got camera footage. They have a little picnic put together to try to raise some funds or see if anyone knows anything about Ben. Now we seen Jonah handing out flyers. Wendy, she came over there and was like, is everything all right? Even though they know Ben is dead, they have to go along with it, especially since Grandpa's here. Now we see Grandpa's girlfriend asking Charlotte about Sam because he came over and we always knew that he was a little bit weird. And Charlotte gives the whole rundown of him. His mom got hit by a bus. He tried to marry a stripper. She left him because of his gambling problem. Yeah, he's all kinds of messed up. Wendy's trying to get Charlotte to show up to the Byrde Foundation meeting. You remember Jim is setting that up so we can raise some money to get Navarro out. Well, guess who shows up to this little fundraiser for Ben? It's our girl Ruth, and she gets straight to the point. The little stunt you pulled with the police, Wendy, it didn't work. The Shaw deal is done. Now, your dad is the one that invited me to this. Now, he doesn't know what piece of SHIT he spawned. But stay about my business. I told y'all, since part 2 started, Ruth is on a rampage. Ruth is doing what's best for Ruth. Arturo's down there. He's going through the same torture. Feeding him a little bit of rice. Lights on 24/7. Obnoxious music. Sleep deprivation. It'll start to get you to crack. Marty's upstairs looking at him. He looks over at the security and gives him that nod. You know what the nod means. Jim shows up because we got this big fundraiser going on. But he tells Wendy, oh, it's canceled. I already told the investors it's over with. That's because Claire pulled her donation to the foundation back. So Wendy hears this and this is messing up everything. She gets on the phone call and basically tells Claire, look, if I'm not happy, then no one's going to be happy. So I'm going to give you one more chance to make this right. Now, I don't know what Claire is going to do, but Wendy sounds pretty serious about this. They got Arturo down here. Now they hitting him with the waterboarding. And Marty's like, just tell me the truth. We know you did the hit. Now, he doesn't admit to the hit initially. But after a couple of waterboards, he's like, look, I messed up the books. I was a top earner. I thought I deserved that. But Marty wants to hear that there was a hit put on Omar and it was by Arturo. Now, I don't know if I necessarily believe him when he said, okay, I did the hit, but I know he did cook them books. Now, the reason I'm thinking that they want him to say that he was the one to do it, because Marty doesn't want to really start a war with anybody else. He wants to just keep it in-house so he doesn't have to go out and do bigger things than what he needed to do for the cartel. But if Arturo did it, he's going to get what he deserves. Here's another sign, the spiral staircase, because at this point, everything is spiraling down into a hole. Marty has to step up and make tough decisions on behalf of Navarro. Now, this tough decision, they go ahead and they get rid of Arturo. The last sign we have is the lantern. Now, you remember this was Buddy's lantern. Now, after she gets off the phone call with Marty, she goes over there and then she puts the lights out because it's officially getting dark in the Ozarks. There you go, episode 10 of Ozarks. What do you think about Marty out here pulling the strings, stepping in for Navarro? Is this going to backfire on him? Is Marty going to make it to the end of the season running things like this, actually being a cartel boss? And also, what are they going to do about the Ben situation? Is Mel going to get some good footage to find out and start connecting the dots? Let me know what you think. I'm MoedotJ. If you like the content on the channel, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Thanks for watching. I'm out.
Jimmy on the beat, boy.